Wah, 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 wah. It's crazy. I'm not even a dad, and I make the dad jokes. Are you getting how disappointed my mother is?
You're practicing.
We get the crap humor, but we don't get the grandkids?
In each episode, we put a new food star in the hot seat to test their knowledge of where their food comes from. Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the True Food Challenge. I'm your host, Nicole Jolly, and today's guest is a culinary explorer who's known for taking on any edible challenge. Today's challenger is Adam Richman. You know him as the host of the hit show Man vs. Food. He's also the host of Secret Eats and an author of 2 books. We're gonna start with some icebreakers.
All right.
Okay.
All right. How much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice.
I love it.
Hello.
If you could eat only one vegetable for the rest of your life, what would that be?
You talking about personal preference or for health?
No, personal preference. All about taste. Straight up tasty.
Ooh.
Right?
Well done. Well played.
Desert island vegetable.
Desert island vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sweating it out.
I am. I'm having a hard one already. I'm going to say it's close to like a deadlock. Yeah, I would say, because green onion is the one that like jumped out, like scallion jumped out really, really big at me.
Yeah, you say you love it in this book. I remember that.
Die Hard. And the way the flavor changes when you roast it, if you saute it, if you just sort of char it raw by itself. So I think there's a lot of love there, but
okay.
I don't know.
But for the rest of your life, is that it?
It might be. I'm gonna have to tell broccoli and spinach like, I love you guys. It's not me. It's not
me.
you. It's me. It's me. It's me and the onion.
We'll be revisiting green onions.
Negi-chan, as my Japanese counterparts will say.
Very good. Very good.
Let's do it.
All right. Number 2. What herb, spice, or condiment are you currently obsessed with? Anything in your cupboard that?
Oh, that is a great question. It's so funny. I'm sure only people on this show will say, well, I went through a gochujang phase, and then I kind of worked my way through my white miso phase. But it's so true. And like sriracha is like basic bitch. So I feel now I've kind of come full circle back to Kewpie mayo.
Oh, really?
And I did a event with a bunch of chefs over Thanksgiving, and somehow the conversation turned to mayonnaise, and a chef much older, more successful and experienced than I, actually was like giving me great things to do with Kewpie, Japanese mayo. One of which, he said, if you mix it with tobiko, and he said specifically wasabiko, like the wasabi tobiko, and you mix it, not overdo it with the mayo, and dip fried stuff into the tobiko mayo. It is the chronic. It is the chronic. It's unfair how good it is.
Note to self.
Please do it. Please. Tip from Uncle Adam.
That's amazing.
Here I am. Mix caviar with mayo and dip fried stuff in it. Brought to you by Crestor.
Ching. All right. So you're a huge global traveler.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what is the last place you've been that's really rocked your world?
Warsaw. I hadn't ever anticipated ever going, and I'm half Polish, and my current show is the one on Cooking Channel, Secret Eats. We filmed in Warsaw and didn't know what to expect and was blown away.
Yeah, I've not been.
One of the most breathtaking cities, wildly affordable for travelers. But when it was PPR, and it was the sort of Soviet Republic in Poland, there was a type of restaurant called Obiady Domowe. And they were only in homes. And we went to one called Przyzmak. And you literally are sitting on the arm of a couch next to a stranger who's like sitting on the couch. You're drinking borscht out of a coffee cup. So it's sort of like a ground chicken croquette. That was pretty fantastic. And naturally, the kielbasa and the pierogi are just sort of like...
They really are. Another level, right?
Yeah, we're not even close. And then you're like washing it down with like Zubrovka and like really good like bison grass vodka. That's like ice cold. And you're like, and I'm done. Mic drop on my plate. And we're done here.
All right. So we're going to dive into the challenge. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Each one is worth 10 points. We'll see how close you can get to a perfect 100 score.
I have my Apple Watch on. I should check my pulse on this one. I'm really nervous. I'm super nervous. I know.
You can do it. Number 1. You're a man who knows his
Chestnuts. Sorry.
How did you know?
No, I don't know. I'm just so nervous. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
You're a man who knows his way around a cut of meat. So we're going to start with a meaty vegetable.
Okay.
Can you guess?
Portobello mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Okay.
Mushrooms. Good. You're in the flow. You're in the zone. Do you like them? Do you like
I
mushrooms?
do. I'm a fun guy.
Wah,
Wah, wah, wah. It's crazy. I'm not even a dad, and I make the dad jokes. Are you getting how disappointed my mother is? Wait, we get the shot.
You're practicing.
We get the crap humor, but we don't get the grandkids. Don't like it. Don't like it. Not a fan.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Me too.
Okay, I'm going to give you a double blank question. So you have to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Each one is worth 5 points, okay?
Copy
Here we go.
that, please.
Here we
God,
go.
let me get this.
Mushrooms are not plants. They're...
Fungi.
They don't have seeds. They have...
Spores.
Oh, my God. 10 points, baby.
Yes.
Right off the start.
Yes.
See?
All right, hot or not, I got a 10.
Adam in the house. You wrote a book.
I wrote 2 of them.
2 books. That's right. This
So
one
now
is
you have
straight
a
up
coaster for your beverage and a trivet for your lasagna.
Stop it. It's a good book.
Thank you.
Come on.
It is.
Okay, so this one is straight up tasty.
It is.
And inside this book is a recipe for your favorite vegetable, as we know now.
The green onion salad.
So good, yes.
Yes.
What's the difference between scallions or green onion and spring onions?
I think that spring onions have a bigger bulb on the bottom, shorter, and I think the actual stalk, so scallions tend to be a lot more upright. They go from white to sort of a green, not unlike this spike tape here on the ground.
Yeah.
But then spring onion, I hope I'm not talking out of my ass like a ventriloquist,
No, you're
has
good.
a bigger bulb. It's closer, it's not chive. It's actually, to me, somewhere between chive and leek, but like it's like the weird mutated baby of chive and leek.
Are they same or are they different, scallions and spring onion? Are they the same?
I have,
vegetable or
I'm not
different?
going to lie, I always have been using it synonymously like they were the same thing. And, but then I have been corrected, so I am kind of talking shit a little bit. You know what? Because I never want to be caught out by like a trick question, I'm going to say same vegetable, different nomenclature.
Okay. So then you get 5 points for describing them exactly right. You were absolutely right in their physical nature, being the scallion, not much of a bulb, right? The spring onion has a bulb. They're different. Spring onions are basically just immature bulb onion that we eat, those onions. It's just in the springtime, right? That bulb hasn't fully developed. It's just like that. Scallions...
It's the green frond
Yeah,
that's growing from
exactly.
the top of it.
That's exactly right. Scallions, different cultivar. It's the same family, but a totally different plant.
Unbelievable.
And they will never grow a full bulb.
How about that?
Isn't that
Two
amazing,
distinct
right?
sources of horrible breath and so different, yet both equally capable of embarrassing me.
You're an Anglophile. I want to know why. What's your connection with the UK?
I am a quarter English myself.
Ah.
My great-granddad was from Leeds. My dad was a big Shakespeare buff.
Wow.
And my mom being a teacher, my dad being a lawyer, you know, the written word was so prevalent in our household that if we were going to watch TV, they were like the PBS parents. And
it.
so you're watching things like I, Claudius and Masterpiece Theater. I loved Paddington as a kid.
Really? Lovely.
I watched Doctor Who a little bit too much. I oddly enough didn't really like it, yet couldn't draw
Stop
myself
watching.
away. It was really strange.
So this is actually a mustard question. Coleman's mustard.
Hey.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah. Mustard is the only major spice that Britain grows, right? So there are 2 factors that primarily regulate the spiciness of any prepared mustard. What are those 2 factors?
Well, I think about things like M-A-I-L-L-E, my
Yes,
Dijon.
yes, yep.
And that's, so horseradish based is where I think that they're getting a lot of their heat from. And I would think that probably doing things like xanthan gum or things like some kind of a lactic or malolactic kind of something to create a creaminess, whether it's an agar or something like that, because that tends to neutralize spice, at least in my mouth. The fattier things, like the olive oils or whatever, tend to neutralize heat. But I would say heat is probably coming from something like the capsaicin or the capsicum and a type of pepper, maybe white pepper or some kind of even types of mustard seed and horseradish.
Yeah, okay, wait. Types of mustard seed. You're kind of going in the right direction now. Yeah.
I don't
Do you know anything about the mustard seeds?
Not too much, no. Just except how to identify them in my spice rack. I know that, for example, wasabi is not, in fact, a mustard. It's a grated type of horseradish.
Yeah.
And that Shakespeare named a character after that in Midsummer Night's Dream.
There you go.
And this is the end of Adam's mustard seed knowledge.
That's
this
worth a point
not
right
a
there,
chapter
right?
in
okay,
here.
So mustard, different seeds, right? There's the yellow, sometimes called white. There's the darker ones, the brown versus black. The lighter colors are milder. Darker mustard seeds have more of a kick. So you can add those to spice it up. Or the liquid that you add to your mustard. So if you're going to go straight up water, you're going to get the spiciest mustard. Acid, like vinegar, that's where you're going to mellow out your mustard. So if you're going for like not such a spicy mustard, you're going to
vinegar.
You're going to put vinegar in there.
So it's a limiting of the mustard seed and an addition of vinegar. Well, see, that's interesting though, because if you add any kind of spice to liquid, it actually amplifies the heat.
Right,
any
like
kind
if
of
you
capsicum.
like drink, right, but capsicum is different from mustard.
Mustard seed,
That's the difference. It's entirely different.
It's not peppers.
Capsicum is pepper. It's not mustard, but which I know is your kind of
purview.
area of expertise there, right? All right, I'll give you one for good conversation.
Up top for that one.
Right?
There you go. Better than I do on a date. I got a point, ladies.
As we were mentioning, you have a reputation for withstanding fiery foods.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. What's your favorite kind of hot? Asian hot? And we're not talking ladies here. We're talking about spice.
Correct.
Right? American chilies. What's your favorite kind of?
I love Thai chilies. I love the things that are like fermented chilies, fermented peppers like the gochujang.
Yeah.
I'm also a very, very big Szechuan junkie.
Oh.
I always pay
Szechuan
for it.
Gourmet.
Yeah,
Szechuan
39th
gourmet,
and
yeah.
5th.
Oh my god.
Hell yes.
Dude, whole fish, chili scallion sauce.
Is that what you do there?
That's what I like.
Oh, see, I do cumin lamb,
Oh,
the sea bass fillet with Napa cabbage cellophane.
totally.
The Chongqing
razor
chicken's
clams.
really good. Never had the razor
they're
clams.
really
Really
good.
bomb.
Yeah.
Good don noodles there.
I'll meet you there.
Come on, we'll share
Come
the lazy
on.
Susan.
I love it.
Turn it
Totally.
around.
And I'm Calabrese, so we like get served the chili oil like
Oh,
at every
love
meal,
it.
you know. So
All the
it's in my-
Calabrese
it's in my-
do a mumble kind of crazy. I love it. So come on down, Rosemary Clooney. 43 years old. I just keep it right and tight as best I can. I jiggle a little bit around here, but don't judge. Judgment's an ugly thing.
So in your book, you have a great tip to sort of combating the onslaught of the heat by eating bananas.
I filmed an episode of Man vs. Food in Boise, Idaho, and there's an amazing pizzeria called Flying Pie.
Okay.
And we did a pizza called the Triple Habanero Explosion or something like that. I apologize, Flying Pie, if I have misrepresented or misremembered the name of this wonderful pizza that has something like 900 pounds of shredded habanero on it. I remember going, oh my God, and I will be as delicate as I can, seeing as how I'm in polite company. I knew whatever gastric sort of fortitude I felt I had, I was going to fall into a burning ring of fire.
Yes.
And I knew that I needed a good exit strategy.
I like that.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Oh, thank
well
you.
done. Yes.
Finishing
you might get a
school
point
worked.
just for that alone.
Thank you. So the chef actually said, and I remember it was a female chef, and I remember feeling quite guilty because she said, hey, I heard what you were talking about, and I thought she was going to say it's really not restaurant conversation, and she would be right too. And she's like, listen, bananas. She said, I love the pizza. It's a good thing. She said it. So I would do white rice and bananas. Apparently the potassium or some aspect of the banana neutralizes it such that you have a effortless exit strategy.
You're teaching me something. Potassium. That's interesting. I'm gonna look into that. Bananas.
Yes.
Exported bananas, which are basically all of the bananas that we eat here in the U.S. Right? They come from elsewhere. They're picked still green, so they can make the journey and not rot along the way. Right? So there is one thing that must be done to these bananas in the receiving warehouse in order for them to actually kind of have a chance of turning yellow by the time they hit stores like a couple days later, right? So they got to speed that up. What are they doing to those bananas to make them turn yellow?
I would think, because I've seen bananas growing, and they grow in those massive clusters, that kind of the same way that once you sort of break that little tip off of the avocado is sort of that one moment that it begins to sort of, the countdown clock on your avocado grenade begins ticking.
Right.
I would think that what they would do is probably separate it from that main stem so that there's no more nutrients directly flowing to it.
What ripens fruit?
Time and exposure to the elements. So I don't know if they lay it out.
Have you heard of ethylene? Ethylene gas?
I'm familiar.
That's the ripening agent, right, in fruit.
Okay.
So naturally, it's a plant hormone that makes things eventually turn ripe, right? So on the journey over, they don't want that ethylene gas that they're naturally giving off to ripen them too soon. So they're actually putting chemicals in that cargo hold to just sort of absorb all of that. And when they get to the warehouse, they gas them with ethylene so that they like kick up that ripening process as soon as possible so that by the time they get to the stores, they're kind of yellowing and on their merry way. But without that ethylene, you're going to be eating a green, woody cardboard.
Oh, ethylene. Because you know what I was thinking?
Don't you talk about ethylene in your normal daily life?
I thought you were going to say dimethyl hydroxylene, and it was ethylene.
All right, I'm a New Yorker who lives in Philly. Philly is home to your best sandwich in America, isn't it?
It is indeed. Nick's roast pork at Reading Terminal Market.
Describe that sandwich for us.
It all begins in Reading Terminal Market with fresh baked bread, and then pork that the Nicolosi family has actually deboned and made essentially into a porchetta, which they both salt, season, fill with vegetables, tie it back up as a porchetta, roast it, rest it. Whole process takes over a day. Sliced roast pork, extra sharp provolone, broccoli rabe, and then they put a little bit of the juice on top, and it makes you feel happy you're alive.
You're totally getting points for that. That wasn't the real question, but that is totally worthy of points right there.
Right?
All right?
Thank you.
Okay, so broccoli rabe, speaking of which, is, I think, like key to that sandwich,
course,
right?
you need that counterpoint.
You need that sort of like bitterness, that lovely... Mm-hmm. Okay, so broccoli rabe. Lots of people think broccoli rabe is just like little baby broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
It is not. In fact, it's not even related to broccoli. Can you name a cruciferous vegetable that it is related to? What does it kind of taste like or remind you of, right?
I would
in the cruciferous family.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Think of that
All right,
taste,
so no,
right?
I got it.
You're with
so
me.
no, so well, you know what? Ethylene was the answer to the last question, so I'm gonna go a little bit more like deep dive. So I'm gonna put it somewhere between gailan,
Okay.
almost like a Japanese water spinach.
Yeah.
It has a little bit more fibrous-y texture akin to something, in my mind, I would put it closer to almost like a bok choy or an asparagus.
Put it here. Bok choy, baby.
Bok choy?
Yeah, same family. Bok choy, turnip greens, what do we call like Chinese cabbage, things like that. 10 points, dude. All right, you use a lot of maple syrup in this book.
Do I?
I'm down with that.
Do
but
I
I
really?
noticed it. No,
Do
yeah.
I really?
Did you not know that?
Well,
I
you're
like
welcome,
that. I'm
Bernie.
down. Yeah.
I'm the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
That's pretty good.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
pretty good. I might give you a point for that
Oh,
one.
me and Bernie, just 8 more Jews will have a minion. I got nominated for a Grammy. Bernie Sanders.
That Yale drama
Right?
education coming through right there. I love it.
Hashtag that's why I'm single.
Oh, it's going to change after this show.
Oh, this is it.
This is it. This is the
Heard
turning
that,
point.
Ma? Nice. Okay, so me
Okay,
and my
so
maple syrup.
right? I got a 2-part question. Each one is worth 5 points. Okay, so besides color, what is the physical difference between light syrup, grade A, and the dark syrup, grade B? So obviously we know that the color is different. It can be very simple. Don't think too deep there. It's color and...
I always took it to be a degree of either purity, or I know that part of the process of sap becoming syrup, the sort of a caramelization or burning of the sugars inside the...
Its flavor is different as well.
Right.
So it's the color and the flavor is stronger with the darker, not as strong with the light, right? Okay, so
Oh,
it's a flavor
I
thing.
guess I'll say yes because I
Yeah,
haven't...
yeah.
I didn't even realize till now I cooked with such an inordinate amount of it, but I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like my buddy sent me some pulled pork from Arkansas and I made a sandwich. I'll put it on the gram between 2 waffles. I did like a waffle.
Oh,
it's called
yeah.
the infield, and it's basically pulled pork,
I remember
cheddar.
that. Yes.
I made an infield last night. It's a pulled pork cheddar maple barbecue sandwich between 2 waffles. I highly recommend it if you are really hungry and you want to eat your feelings. It's Very good.
Drown them in maple syrup.
Very, very good way to sort of cope. It's a
What-
good coping sandwich.
So what creates the difference between the grades? What actually creates the difference
Of the
between
color?
light syrup, and flavor, as we've noted? What creates a lighter, a lighter tasting too syrup versus the darker, stronger flavored syrup? What accounts for the difference? Once I learned this, I was just like, what? Oh, wow.
I will fully cop to this. I am going back in my mind to Alton Brown's
Oh, yeah.
chocolate chip cookie episode where he was talking about light brown versus dark brown sugars
Oh, interesting.
and talking about the way how they do. There's an elasticity to one and a brittleness to the
I'm
other.
going to throw you off that scent because that's
Nothing
we're
to
talking
do
about.
with it.
Yeah, well, that's sugar cane versus maple syrup is a different beast from
You know
the
what?
other sugars.
I'm gonna go with either the. I have no idea.
Okay, yeah. It's actually it's fascinating. It's really just has to do with the atmosphere. So as the spring warms up, the atmosphere becomes warmer. The sap in the trees becomes darker. It becomes a stronger flavored sap. The tree itself is sending out a darker, stronger flavored sap. You have actually written a 17 stanza poem on chocolate.
The history of chocolate.
Yes, the history of chocolate. I was so deeply impressed.
Thank you.
Can I ask you to read my favorite stanza?
Oh boy. Hope it's not the one with the name Conrad von Houten.
No, because
Trying
I
to
didn't
make
know.
that scan. Ooh, that
I
sucked.
didn't know how to pronounce that myself. I've put a that one. That one's my favorite. That one's my favorite.
You rhymed that word, man. Okay. The Aztecs began drinking their chocolate cold after meals or to boost their libido. Moctezuma even included it in soldiers' rations. Now admit it, that is kind of neato.
Bravo!
Thank you.
Bravo,
Thank you very much.
Shakespeare!
Thank you.
Well done. This is actually really impressive.
Thank
I was
you.
really impressed by this. I mean, it is truly the history of chocolate.
I wrote it in one pass.
In a
I'll
moment.
fully cop to it. And DJ Sway was like, dude, you gotta spit this. You gotta rhyme this.
Did you record?
I
something?
haven't yet, but I will do some kind of video of that poem at some
Must.
point.
All right, we heard it here first.
I will. I'll do something. And I got an okay from my buddies at the Chocolate Room in Brooklyn that they'll let me film it there.
I'm
so
holding you to that. All right, you're gonna rock this question. Now.
do it to it.
What's the difference between white chocolate and milk chocolate?
Ethylene. I mean, wait, what? No, what? There is no cacao. That it's the milk solids, it's the butter fat, but there's no cacao.
I knew
Have
you were
to
gonna rock
admit, much love to you, Alton Brown. I just saw your chocolate mousse episode, and you had answered that for me.
that. Thank you, Alton. You're next. I read in your book that you love Hawaii, right?
Deeply.
Best.
Deeply.
Yeah. Tell me about it. What's your love for Hawaii?
Personally, it's my reset button. I went there for the first time in '99, and to think about what it was in the pop culture of my youth, whether it was the Brady Bunch or I Dream of Jeannie and these other things filming there, or my super saturated photos of my 1984 World Book Encyclopedia,
Oh yeah.
and then it was just so immersive and so transportive and so hypnotic and mysterious, and I was a big Magnum PI fan. But then I got there, and there's something about the Aina when you get there that is so... It is the most raw elemental place of like mankind against the elements, and very untouched in some places. And the sheer power of the volcanic activity that made this archipelago to... I mean, it's this bathtub warm air, and it smells like jasmine and grass and salt, and the language sounds like music and lilting, and there's a celebration of food and of drink and of gatherings, and I find a profound warmth and ancient harmony kind of there that I don't feel anywhere else.
That's
And so
beautiful.
it's my reset button in many ways, and
When you retire, we're gonna find you on a beach. And
you'll find me there before God willing. I will
Nice.
buy a home there. My dream is
Hawaii,
to have a family.
prepare.
Yes,
Brace
yourself. No, but my dream would be to raise a family between New York and Hawaii.
Oh, that's beautiful.
family.
Lucky family. Wow.
Right? I would like them to know, like, as proficient in poi as they are in pastrami, Simon as they
Brilliant,
are
I like
smoked
that.
lox. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah. So macadamia. They're a leading producer, right? Of the nut.
Roseanne Barr is a macadamia farmer.
What?
Yeah, I found out she's a big macadamia
Is
farmer.
she in Hawaii these days? Is that what, or is she just?
I personally haven't seen Roseanne there, but yeah, that was the skinny. I believe she's got a spot on Big Island for Maui maybe for macadamia.
Amazing. And I know it's at least in one recipe.
The shrimp and macadamia
Yeah,
nut,
I'm totally
pasta.
making that, dude. That sounds great. The nut is native to which continent?
Macadamia.
Macadamia. You can do it.
I want to say Africa, but Wait. I know about this because I wrote about this in my first book.
Pull it out. It's in the file.
No, because how everyone says like Hawaiian pizza is pineapple and ham, but neither pigs nor pineapple are indigenous to Hawaii.
Exactly.
So, and I remember writing about macadamia. No, I'm gonna say Asia.
Yeah.
It was Africa.
So close. So close. Australia.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're actually the biggest producer still.
Is that so?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is so remarkable. Like to find out, and that's what I love about your pieces is that you have these facts. Like to know, a third of all low bush blueberries come from Maine, but also a third of the U.S. toothpicks come from Maine, and almost 40% of the world's cashews come from Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I think that's so beautiful that See, now I'm not even going to look at the Australian palate anymore the same way.
Exactly. That's what I love, to understand.
Macadamia nuts.
Right?
It makes sense.
Dude, what you said about Hawaii, what you're talking, he's watched it. You're totally getting
You guys
I'll
got to
give you
go
a
watch
7
her
for
thing
that.
on aesthetically pleasing food. It's good. It's upsetting,
you.
but very worth watching.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It
Okay.
is.
In fact,
In fact, you and John Oliver are the only people I've ever seen do any pieces on it. And now, this.
you work with an organization called Common Threads.
I do indeed.
You do. Tell me about that.
Helping underserved communities, and sometimes at need or at-risk communities lead healthier lives through culinary education for their parents, for them, and in some cases even the school. And to find out that in a lot of lower income areas that 1 in 6 kids could not identify broccoli kind of shook me to my core.
Yes.
And I grew up in Brooklyn, and after my folks got divorced, my mom and I had to move to a couple rougher areas, and you do immediately see how good eating habits start in the home. And when you start going over, my mom would cut red pepper strips and cucumbers and plum tomatoes up as a snack.
You're lucky.
And you just hit the nail on the head. You kind of take it for granted, oh yeah, my mom gave it to me, and you don't realize that that's luck. I now look at cutting up fruits and veggies as a snack because I had those habits ingrained in me, but also because I had a mom who could afford fresh fruits and veggies.
Absolutely.
Eating well as a right and not an option.
That organization really speaks to me. I mean, our series, How Does It Grow, was born of that idea that, instead of wagging your finger at kids, you should eat your fruits and vegetables, you make them fall in love through storytelling and get them excited about things they might not otherwise have eaten by showing them, how wonderful these foods can be, what's gone into bringing them to the grocery store and introducing them to foods that they might not have otherwise.
It's amazing.
Tried. So I'm inspired by those kids with this next question. Around their age, they're learning about plant science and specifically about photosynthesis, right?
My teacher clearly skipped the ethylene chapter.
Yeah. We're going to dip back into that sort of middle school science.
Okay.
With this next question.
Photosynthesis.
Chlorophyll. What does chlorophyll do?
I actually know this.
Yes.
I'll
be the judge of that.
Okay. In addition to being the green color that is in plants,
that's right.
It also acts as, if I'm not mistaken, a transport solution through the xylem and phloem in a plant
he just said xylem and phloem.
To carry nutrients to and from. It's what breaks down and changes in autumn leaves, and is a superfood. It's why blue-green algae is so beneficial, and it actually becomes part of the oxygenating element within photosynthesis.
Okay, yeah, I am totally, I'll give you an 8 for that. The only thing I didn't hear is that it absorbs sunlight, which then gets,
of
right?
course.
But you knew
That's
that. I knew you were getting there. Can I
Right,
give you an 8
no,
for that?
That's fair enough.
That's
I'll take
totally
the 8
fair,
because
dude.
I didn't think the sunlight comes in, gets stored in the mitochondria of the cells. The mitochondria are the actual energy powerhouse of the cells.
Yeah. I mean, without chlorophyll, we wouldn't have food, right? So it is so key.
Have you seen that graphic where they show like the produce section and it says the world with bees and the
yes.
world without bees?
Yes.
And there's like 3 veggies there.
It's insane.
There's like potatoes.
I feel like a broken record when I do those How Does It Grow series. It's like, and then they truck in the bees, but every single crop depends on the bees. And people don't realize that. They say, what do you mean when you say that farmers hire bees? They do. They get the beekeeper in to bring hundreds of hives so that they can ensure that their fields get pollinated. Without pollination, we don't have food for most things. Last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're entering dangerous territory. We're going to talk about poison ivy. The heck does poison ivy have to do with our food? 3 common foods are in the same family as poison ivy. These 3 contain in their skin or their shells or their stems the same chemical that can irritate the skin as is in poison ivy. Can you name at least 2 of these 3 common foods that are
I can
in
name
this?
one.
Okay, tell me.
I can name one for
All right.
sure.
All right.
Cashews.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes,
in the
baby.
shell.
Right.
That's
You
why
know
we
about
sell cashews without the shell,
Well done.
because it's in the oil.
Yes. Yes, the oil is in the shell. Yeah, exactly.
And so by roasting it,
Did
it
you watch our
neutralizes
video?
the oil. No, did you
knew
do
it.
one?
Yeah, but you're all over it. You don't need to now. But
No,
you do.
I was fascinated. Cashews, I know, and it's in the shell, but
Yeah, well done.
for the life of me,
Do you know anything
and
that's
I
in that
know
same
it,
family?
and I even, I don't know, dandelion or burdock or something. I don't know.
No. Stay in the trees. Stay
Brazil
in the
nuts?
trees. No. Oh my God, though, we should talk about those. Those are crazy. Mango.
Really?
So if you pick, in the leaves and the stems, they have that sap. So you actually I can't wait to do a mango video to see how the harvesters actually do this without getting irritated from that sap. But mango and pistachios.
Ethylene.
Yeah. I blame
When
ethylene.
in doubt, ethylene.
Woo! You did. You got
man.
over the hump, dude.
Sort of. I kind of wanted over 65, but maybe the fates heard me. Maybe in my mind I said
Dude,
6'5", and
come
it gave
on.
me
And
5'6".
now that you know this challenge is a challenge, right?
I knew it was.
It's a challenge.
I broke the
I'm
Mendoza line. I'm over the 50% mark. I'll
Dude,
take
it was
it.
so much fun having you.
You were awesome, and
You
thank
are
you for letting me
so lovely.
overtalk. Thank you.
No, really.
I'll get out.
Yes, thank you. Come back anytime. We'll see you next time on.
The next True Food Challenge.
You got it. We have so many more food stars lined up to take the hot seat. Don't miss an episode. Click that subscribe button.
I look forward to being smarter when I go to bed than when I woke up. So thank you.
Thank you for being so open then.
The only way anyone's going to learn, and I would much rather acknowledge what I don't know, and I actually think that that's really fascinating. The spring onion one bums me out because I know that my mom knows that, and I feel as in hindsight, I'm like, I could see her teaching me that, and then seeing this and going, oh, Ad.
Oh, Adam.
Oh,
you're
Ed,
next,
you
Mom.
knew.
We're getting
You
on.
knew that. I told you it's when an onion's growing. You said the same thing. Whatever. I mean, I'm just saying. You knew. You knew.
Just saying.
You know how many Jewish moms it takes to change a light bulb? None. Don't worry about me. I'll sit in the dark.